Hi, gang, it's Adam.
And Patrick.
Coming up on today's show, we will answer our first listener question and talk about how we handle post-Disney vacation doldrums. We cover the latest Disney news, and I recap my trip to Disneyland Resort. As always, we close out the episode with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Well, hello there, Adam.
Hey, Patrick.
Welcome back to freezing cold Minnesota.
It's a little different here.
Yeah, you were just in California.
I was in Disneyland Resort for a week.
So exciting. So exciting.
It was.
I'm so glad you're back, but I'm sure that you're not glad you're back.
You know, it's always nice to come home.
Yeah.
But there is that little twinge of pain when you have to leave any kind of Disney experience, and having been there for a week made it just completely immersive, and now I have no idea what reality is anymore. I'm literally like, what month is this? What year is this? Nice. I was so checked out and just completely absorbed in the experience.
Well, you're looking very sun-kissed.
Thank you.
We don't have that here. I'm very pale. The sun has hidden until spring.
You are a cave dweller?
I am. But we're going to get into about your adventures later on in the episode.
Yes, we are.
I hear you have some shout-outs to make.
I do. We had a new listener reach out to us on Instagram because he burned through all 6 of our episodes and was disappointed to learn there wasn't any more available yet.
Oh, well, now he'll be on episode 7.
That's right. At alex.gene_ was nice enough to send us a really lovely message and actually made us part of his story for the day on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and sent us a really lovely review. And so alex.gene_, we're happy to say that we have a new episode for you to listen to, and this is it.
That's right. Welcome to the family. I actually have, or you sent me, our first listener question as well.
That's right. We got an email.
We sure did. We got an email from Meg, who asks us, why are there so many tragic parent aspects in Disney movies? So many widowers, evil stepmothers, etc.
That's right. It's always kind of a dark start to a story.
It's a hot topic, I think, in the Disney community. People have lots of theories. I did a little digging, and I have kind of an answer, but this is one of those answers that it's not 100% sure why, but here are some theories that are out there. Like I said, there's actually a lot of back and forth on this, and one of the theories is that after the success of Snow White in 1938, Walt Disney made a bundle of money from that movie, and he purchased a house for his parents. Tragically, about a month later, there was a faulty furnace in the house, and so there's a carbon monoxide leak, and sorry to say this gets a little dark, his mother did pass away from that, and this caused him great guilt that kind of haunted him for the rest of his life. And so some people theorize that tragic loss led him to emphasize the loss of a parent in future Disney movies.
They touch on that in that wonderful documentary that PBS made about Walt Disney's life. Have you watched that?
I did, yeah.
If you haven't seen that, I really recommend that you check that out. It's really a very in-depth look at Walt Disney's life and his experience working as a filmmaker.
So another position I would like to enter into the record is that a lot of Disney movies are not original stories. They are taken from fairy tales from the past and from different countries, specifically from the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. And if you haven't read any of those, they are dark stories.
I mean, if anything, Walt Disney softened them.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that if you think the Disney movies are dark, take a look at those Brothers Grimm tales. There are examples of the stepsisters getting their eyes eaten out by birds in one of them. It's pretty gruesome. So those are the main 2 theories that are floating around out there, and I think they both have validity to them, right?
Yeah, I really think so. I think that there are those kind of darker elements of both the filmmaker and then, of course, the subject matter that kind of play into why we see these kind of darker elements in the beginnings of the movies.
Absolutely. So hopefully that answers your question, Meg, and anyone else who may have been thinking that as well. Thank you for writing in. If you have a question out there, please do write into us at info@gaysdothed.com. Moving on, before we get into our next segment, we have a little bit of Dizstory for you listening in on Monday, October 22nd. If you happen to be listening on that day when this episode drops, give a happy anniversary shout-out to The Nightmare Before Christmas, which turns 25 years old.
25 years old. I saw it in the theater. I went opening night, if you can believe it.
You did? Wow.
I did. I made my mom take me. I was a huge Tim Burton fan.
Sure.
And I loved stop motion. I loved puppetry as a kid. I was real popular as a child. I loved puppets and stop motion and Tim Burton.
You had your finger on the pulse. You were a trendsetter at a wee age of, how old were you then? 38?
Rude.
Oh.
That's so rude.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But I can remember the opening night crowd, as you can kind of imagine, was full of goths.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
Here's little gay Adam with his mom, and then, of course, there's all these people like wearing black trench coats and, heavy makeup.
I imagine a lot of people were wearing socks as gloves.
Sure.
Remember that trend?
Yep.
Very Avril Lavigne kind of a look.
Yeah.
I like it. Well done. So happy anniversary, Nightmare Before Christmas. We are actually in our next episode, stay tuned, going to be sort of doing a Nightmare Before Christmas takeover.
That's right. We're going to be doing a take 2 of The Nightmare Before Christmas. If you've listened to previous episodes, we did a take 2 of Bambi. So this is our next segment in that series.
I'm excited. Another Diz-story on this date, October 22nd, is the birth date of Annette Funicello.
Annette Funicello.
Oh, I'm sure she's never heard that before. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure many of you do, Annette was one of the original Mouseketeers on the original Mickey Mouse Club. Fun fact, she was, I don't know if she was the only one, but one of the very few who was hand-selected by Walt Disney himself.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yes, it is. And of course, she went on to later play Mary Contrary in Disney's Babes in Toyland. Annette is no longer with us, unfortunately, but happy birthday wherever you are, Annette Funicello.
Patrick, as you mentioned at the top of the show, I am newly back from my Disneyland trip.
You sure are. I am jealous, but excited for you.
And I'm feeling a bit blue.
Uh-oh.
I think a lot of us experience this when we come back from a Disney trip. And so for this week's discussion, we decided to focus on the Disney Doldrums and how you combat that after you get back from a trip.
Yeah, sort of how do you keep the Disney magic alive after a trip?
One thing I like to do is immediately plan another trip.
Yeah, that's actually one of the most exciting things to do.
Or have had already started planning another one.
On the plane ride home.
Right, so that you know that there's something on the horizon to look forward to.
That's true. Even if you're not technically booking those tickets and spending that money, it is fun to just sort of investigate and plan and wish. Along those lines, while I'm on a trip, sometimes what I'll do is I'll make a note of something that I want to do next time that I didn't get to do this time and sort of add that to the itinerary should I take a trip in the near future.
That is an excellent idea.
Thank you.
And I'm going to steal it for my upcoming trips.
Please do. Please do. I recommend that to everybody out there.
I think another thing you can do, and this is something that my travel companions mentioned that they do while we were on this most recent trip, is bring back a treat or something that they can enjoy several days out from the return of the trip.
Absolutely. In fact, I mentioned during our Fab 5 sweet treats in the parks that I love the Goofy's Sour Balls, and they're prepackaged so you can take them home with you. I buy like 3 or 4 of them, and then I can enjoy them week after week after my trip.
Our friend Paul, on this trip to Disneyland, picked up a package of pumpkin spice pretzels.
Yum, very seasonal.
That he could enjoy when he got home.
Did you try any while you were in the parks?
I did not try any. He was not nice enough to share them. He took them back to his room and hid them away in a safe.
Fair enough. I understand. That's good willpower. Good job, Paul. Something I actually did today that I like to do is try to recreate some of those treats in the park. So today I made some Mickey pretzels. If you look at our Instagram, I think, Adam, you put one of those photos up.
That's right, and I really appreciate you making the pretzels. It provides a nice, soft landing back to reality for me.
Fair enough. A nice doughy seat.
A nice carby return to the real world.
I've also made the bread pudding that you can buy in Sunshine Seasons in Epcot. It's so delicious. There are tons of recipes online. Just go online and have a day of it.
You have made that bread pudding, and it is incredible.
It's delicious. It's one of my favorite treats to make. It's not low on the calories, so maybe make one a year, but they're fantastic.
Another very easy thing you can do, and if you're allowed to have earphones in at work or play music at your desk, is to play audio tracks from either rides, attractions, or even just park music itself.
I plug into, there's a YouTube channel that plays all that hotel music that you can listen to.
Yes.
I love it. So it's all the Disney classics that are just instrumental versions.
There's also a great station online called Sorcerer Radio that plays a lot of music and kind of divides it up in interesting ways. So for instance, every night they play the nighttime spectacular music from each of the parks.
That's super exciting. I love that. I have to check that out. I haven't done that yet. Along those lines, of course, just watching those Disney movies over and over again really keeps that spirit alive, because it's hard to have a bad day when you're watching a Disney movie. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's absolutely true.
That is true. I think that they hold such a connection to nostalgia, and they also get you pumped up for your next experience.
One other thing I like, there's so many things out there to do.
That's good. We have remedies for everything.
We sure do. If you go online, I don't know if you go to Reddit ever, but there's tons of Walt Disney subreddits that you can get involved in the conversation with other lovers of Disney. People are posting their pictures from the parks and submitting questions of what to do on their trips. So get involved. Build a little community out there.
That is a really fascinating place to visit, is Reddit. And each park pretty much has its own subreddit. I'm still new to Reddit, so I'm like figuring it out.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of fascinating information, park secrets, trip planning secrets. It's a great source of information.
And of course, all the photos that you hopefully take while you're on your trips are fun ways to look back on your memories, right?
That's right. It's a perfect opportunity for you to look back on your experiences and then also kind of relive those moments and plan ahead for things you want to hit again when you're traveling again.
For sure. I love to get the Memory Maker package, so you get access to all of the photos that the parks photographers have taken for you, and those are great to upload onto your phone, onto any digital device that you may have. I actually have an Apple TV that I put them on, and so when it goes into its sleep mode, they just pop up those Disney pictures, and they are a delight to watch.
That's a great idea.
The last item on my list is, of course, I am a big gift shopper. I'm Disney's biggest bankroll, I feel like, when I'm in the parks. I like to get those little collectibles, the memories of like rides I liked, experiences I liked, and just have little memories like at my home on the shelves. I bring some to my work on my desk, so just glance over and see Figment smiling at me, and it's a good day.
And it doesn't have to be anything expensive, right? It can be the least expensive option in the store. For instance, my boyfriend Matthew now has taken to buying the pins, which a lot of people trade.
I love those pins.
Yes, but what he does is he snaps off the pin portion and turns it into a magnet and puts it on our fridge.
Oh, that's super clever.
Yeah, so it's kind of a less expensive way to keep a memory alive. So every time I go to the fridge to stuff something into my face, I'm reminded of how great our trip was how great the food was.
That's a great idea. I like to, because I am not about that millionaire life, the art that Disney has, they make little postcard versions of them, and I like to buy those and frame them. So they're exactly the same. They're just smaller versions and a lot cheaper. They're like $6.
That's another great suggestion, Patrick, is just keeping things around your house that remind you of the experiences you've had and keep the Disney magic alive in your home.
For sure. So those are just some of the ways that we like to keep the magic alive. If you have suggestions, we'd love to hear about them. Again, you can email us at info@gaysdothed.com.
Or you can reach out to us on social media at GDTD Podcast. Hey, Patrick, let's talk about some news.
You may know, this past March, Disney Chairman and CEO Bob Iger announced that Disney would dedicate more than $100 million to reinvent the patient and family experience in children's hospitals around the world. This is all part of the Disney Team of Heroes initiative. Good job, Disney.
Yeah.
Some of the concepts for this project include an RFID-based system. RFID are those sort of sensors, I guess, that you have in your magic bands throughout the parks that sort of locate where you are. They're your keys to the kingdom.
Sure.
That's what they're calling them.
Yeah.
So they would be incorporated into the hospital patient experience. So patients would be able to customize their hospital stay by choosing their favorite Disney characters, which will then be the theme of their stay, surrounding elements of their room and different care, I guess.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. And some of those elements will include some enchanted artwork that will come alive in their rooms. Some bed linens will be themed from the characters, and then also their hospital gowns, too, will have those characters printed on them. They also plan to train the hospital staff through a customized program to help foster a less stressful experience for patients and their families. Recently, Disneyland Resort President Josh D'Amaro announced that the Orange County Children's Hospital would be the next facility to partner with Disney on this project. The hospital's CEO is quoted as saying, "We are thrilled to partner with Disney to leverage the power of imagination, creativity, and make-believe in creating memorable experiences for our patients. We believe nothing, especially illness or injury, should put childhood on pause." Sorry, got choked up a little bit in that sentence. I just think it's an amazing project that they're doing, and kudos to you, Disney. A fun fact is that Walt Disney himself was on the committee that helped open the Orange County Children's Hospital.
What an amazing way to give children a leg up on their healing and recovery by giving them the experience of comfort and care and magic.
Absolutely. They're already at a very scary time in their life, and so Disney is just trying to give them that extra boost that they might need to elevate their spirits, which studies have shown can often help you in the healing process.
Positivity works, and keeping that kind of uplifted mentality really goes a long way when you're trying to recover from something.
100%. So well done, Disney. We applaud you.
The World of Disney stores in Disney Springs and Walt Disney World and Downtown Disney District in Disneyland Resort have been reimagined.
Ooh.
The new stores feature a contemporary design and improved store layouts that evoke an animator's studio and include draftsman desks and sketches by Disney animation legends like the 9 Old Men.
Wow. Was that up and running on your most recent trip?
It was. In fact, I was just there on Friday making some purchases.
Sure.
And it is a big, beautiful open space that does include some Disney magic.
Wow. Describe this magic.
Behind the register counters, every once in a while, Tinkerbell would fly across the wall and pop into some of the artist renderings and make them come to life.
That's incredible. It sounds like the cue to Peter Pan's flight. I love what they did there with Tinkerbell flying around.
It was very similar to that.
Amazing.
The stores also feature reusable, environmentally friendly merchandise bags made from 80% recycled materials, which can be purchased for $1. So this is the first time in either of the domestic resorts where reusable bags are an option.
Sure.
And so people can make purchases, purchase a bag for $1, and then keep using them as they make additional purchases in the store or throughout the parks.
That's such a smart idea, and $1 seems a very low price for something that you can actually use at home as well as a souvenir in and of itself.
Also, they're super cute.
Did you get any?
I did not get any, but I saw them, and they have these really cute, stylized, kind of retro-y looking versions of Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and Pluto on the bags.
The Fab Five.
That's right.
I love that they're doing this. I know that there's been rumors that they're trying to eliminate those plastic bags altogether, so this seems like a great step forward.
It definitely does, and as you said, something that people can reuse, whether they're shopping in the stores or just in their everyday life. The World of Disney stores in both domestic park locations are now open, and their grand reopenings are October 26th in the Downtown Disney District at Disneyland Resort and October 27th in Disney Springs at the Walt Disney World Resort.
So if you're out there in any of those locations, send some pics our way. We'd love to see them. This month, the Disney Conservation Fund, the DCF, awarded over $5 million in grants to support 76 different conservation organizations working to protect wildlife around the world. One of this year's recipients is the International Rhino Foundation, which is working to save the critically endangered Sumatran rhinos from extinction. As of right now, there are less than 80 Sumatran rhinos in the world, and at least one of which is at the Disney World Animal Kingdom.
Once again, doing good for an amazing cause.
Absolutely. The majority of the funding for the DCF is provided by the Walt Disney Company, and the rest is supplemented by generous contributions of guests visiting Disney's Animal Kingdom and select Disney Resort locations. So well done again, Disney, and well done all of you guests out there who have this cause in your hearts as well. For more information on the Disney Conservation Fund, go to www.waltdisneycompany.com/environment.
Yet another new resort is coming to Walt Disney World.
How do they have all this land, and where is it coming from?
It's almost laughable at this point. Every week there's and a new resort is coming.
It's true. I want a new park, but I'll take a resort.
Okay, let's not get greedy, Patrick.
Okay.
The yet-to-be-named nature-inspired mixed-use deluxe resort will be built on the site of the old River Country Water Park between Disney's Wilderness Lodge and Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground.
So it's sort of an in-between those two locations. Yeah?
That's right there on Bay Lake.
Okay, cool.
The resort will include more than 900 hotel rooms and Disney Vacation Club villas. This will be the 16th DVC property that Disney owns.
That's incredible. Like I said before, it's like they're just pulling this land out of nowhere. I didn't know they had all this extra space.
You know, River Country has been sitting there dilapidated.
That's fair.
For a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people had it in their hearts that maybe it would be revived at some point. But I think that a hotel is the correct answer to make use of this space. And based on the architectural renderings, it looks like it's going to be beautiful.
Fair enough. It feels like Disney is really doubling down on their expectations for big crowds.
Terry Schultz, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Disney Vacation Club, said, "This resort experience will be a celebration of Walt Disney's lifelong love and respect for nature, with some fun and even surprising accommodation types that families will find irresistible." Do you know what that means to me?
Tell me.
Glamping.
Oh.
Do you think they're going to... I have it in my mind that they're going to offer these kind of like fantastic camping experiences with out-of-the-world tents and, very comfortable beds.
Maybe Chip and Dale will pay you a visit.
I would love for Chip and Dale to pay me a visit.
I want to glamp with Daisy Duck.
She, of all of the characters, for sure goes glamping.
Yeah, she is sassy and brassy.
The new resort is set to open in 2022, so it will miss the 50th anniversary, but I'm sure it will be a phenomenal addition to the Bay Lake resorts.
This story is super fun, and it actually happened while you were in Disneyland, Adam, so maybe you accidentally ran into this couple.
I did, and it hurt.
Uh-oh. An apology to the Tennessee couple who, on Wednesday, October 17th, Heather and Clark Ensminger from Tennessee visited all 6 Disney theme parks in the USA in one day.
That is bonkers to me. It's bonkers.
It's bonkers. It's bananas. It's bonkers, and I want to live that life. So they arrived in Orlando on Tuesday night and set out the next morning to visit all 6 parks, riding at least one attraction and having one bite to eat in each of the parks. Here's what they did. They started at Hollywood Studios, rode Slinky Dog Dash and Alien Swirling Saucers, ASS, and Toy Story Mania. So I'm guessing this was part of that early Disney magic.
It sounds like they probably did that, yeah.
Yeah, and so because then they had breakfast in Toy Story Land itself. Next, they went to Epcot, rode Spaceship Earth, good choice, and had a Mickey Mouse ice cream bar, another great choice. They took a minivan to the Magic Kingdom, rode Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and had a LeFou's Brew in Gaston's Tavern. They then headed to Animal Kingdom, rode Avatar Flight of Passage, How Did You Get a Fast Pass? And and had lunch.
Wait a minute, is that the official title now? Avatar Flight of Passage. And in quote that's like, how'd you get a fast pass?
Who let you in? That's a t-shirt. They then had lunch at Satuli Canteen, and then they hopped on a flight at 4 p.m. and landed in L.A. at 7 p.m. So they arrived at Disney's California Adventure at 8 p.m., rode the Incredicoaster and Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, and had a churro. Then they headed over to Disneyland at 10 p.m., rode Indiana Jones Adventure, and had a corn dog at the Little Red Wagon.
How about that?
That is hard to get through without laughing because it sounds preposterous, but it is my best Disney life.
Did they take a laxative after all of that?
Yeah, they had some interesting choices of food there, all in one day.
Listen, I applaud this incredible achievement for them.
Absolutely.
But if anyone ever proposes that I do this, I'm going to say, no, please step back. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because I prefer a more relaxed Disney experience, and this just sounds like very hectic and insane to me. It's a bucket list thing, right? I guess like it's not in my bucket.
Fair.
Doesn't need to be anywhere near my bucket.
I am on the opposite end of that spectrum.
Yeah.
I am a wreck yourself before you wreck yourself, and then wreck yourself again on Disney. Wreck-It Ralph yourself as much as you can, and you probably will Ralph after all that food. Right?
Well, your birthday's next month, so now I know what to get you.
Did you suddenly win the lottery that I don't know about, Adam?
Listen, you're worth it.
Oh,
you're worth it.
Thank you so much. So the reason for this trip was to honor Heather's father, who had passed away last October, days before the family was to visit Walt Disney World together. So they used this as sort of a memoriam to her father. A quote from Heather is, "As the anniversary of his passing got a little closer, I was having a hard time. Unbeknownst to me, my husband started planning this trip as a special surprise to me."
What a wonderful way for them to honor her father's memory and at the same time have this incredible experience that probably brought them closer together as a couple.
For sure. They took something that was terribly tragic and turned it into some Disney magic. Adam.
Patrick.
I am super excited to talk to you about your Disneyland trip.
I am super excited to tell you all about it.
We have purposefully not talked about it to each other because we wanted to save it for this podcast.
It's been painful.
Well, you literally just got back last night, right?
I did. I got back Friday night. We're recording this on Saturday, and of course, as you know, it comes out on Monday.
So how many days were you out there?
I was out there for 5 days.
Amazing. And it was your first time
at
Disneyland.
My first time at Disneyland.
That's so exciting. I can't wait to have my second first time, because my first time I was 6 years old, so some of the memories are fading.
I have to tell you, the whole time I was out there, I kept thinking, I need to be here with Patrick. We need to experience this together.
We will. Maybe we'll podcast live out there sometime.
I would love it.
Bucket list. So walk me through a little bit what your planning process was for this. So, like, how did you decide you wanted to go there? How did you decide where to stay? Because you had never been there, so this is a little bit blind for you, yeah?
That's right. I've been a lifelong Walt Disney World visitor.
Right.
And there's a group of guys that I travel with.
Mm-hmm.
It's our mutual friends, Paul and Bart and Rick. And this time, my boyfriend, Matthew, came along for the trip.
A gaggle of gays.
That's right. A gaggle of gays hit Disneyland. And so we typically go to Walt Disney World.
Sure.
Or we have the past 2 trips.
Okay.
So this time we decided to tackle a new park, a park that some of us had experienced, but it was many, many years ago. A majority of us had not ever experienced.
Sure. So you were all kind of experiencing it kind of for the first time together then as a group.
That's right. So we decided to do Disneyland. And as many of you probably know, Disneyland planning is so different from Walt Disney World planning in that you don't need to plan as much. And there isn't quite as long of a lag time between when you start planning and when you actually travel.
Sure. So for there, you kind of just decide, I'm going to go, here are my tickets, here's my hotel, and then we're going to show up.
That's right. It's becoming a little bit more difficult to snag some restaurant reservations.
Okay.
And they take their reservations 60 days out.
Oh, wow.
And so we did end up making the reservations that we really knew we wanted at the 60-day mark, but a lot of our dining experiences were just walk-up.
Got it. And you stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, is that right?
We stayed at the Disneyland Hotel.
Amazing. So how did you decide on that hotel specifically?
We looked at the price of the Grand Californian.
Okay.
And we were like, nope.
Yeah.
Plus, there's just the history behind the Disneyland Hotel.
Sure.
And I knew it was very heavily Disney themed, and the proximity can't be beat to both parks. So that was kind of how we made that call.
So you land, you get off the plane, you get your hotel. Talk to me about your first day in the parks.
We got to our hotel. It was a very easy experience, I have to say. I was a little nervous flying in. We flew into LAX. I was a little nervous. No time at all to grab our bags, hop in a lift, head to the hotel. We wanted to keep that first night kind of casual or a little bit more relaxed because we've been traveling.
Yeah.
So we had dinner at Steakhouse 55, which is in the Disneyland Hotel.
Sounds delicious.
It was very, very nice, a very good experience. And then we just kind of relaxed, you know.
Yeah.
It was really an opportunity for us to kind of catch our breath before we hit the parks the next day.
Fantastic. So the next day you wake up, you put on your best Disney outfit.
Yep, I put on my ears. We went to Disney California Adventure.
Okay.
Because they have extra morning magic sometimes in the mornings.
Oh.
So that's an hour when hotel guests can get into the parks before the regular visitors can get into the parks.
And then DCA, of course, is their addition to Disneyland.
That's right. So we knew immediately we had to hit Radiator Springs Racers, right, in Cars Land.
Yeah,
we really want
the ride to go on.
We wanted to check out Cars Land.
Yeah.
It is crazy good.
Yeah.
I'm not even a fan of the Cars movies, but the level of detail in that is phenomenal. And on top of that, they are now currently celebrating Halloween.
Oh, sure.
So they have all these crazy kind of car-related Halloween decorations all over the area. It's super cute. And Radiator Springs, the ride itself, is mind-blowing. I guess the best way to describe it would be similar to Test Track in Epcot, but there are more animatronics. The cars are talking to you. You race another car. It's a very large ride. You experience a lot of showrooms, and then you're also outside racing around kind of the Southwest.
Wow, that sounds incredible.
It was really beautiful.
So that was sort of a highlight for you then, yeah?
Yeah, that, and also, I have to tell you, Incredicoaster in the new Pixar Pier area is amazing.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to say that was my favorite ride experience of the entire trip.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell everyone right now, save it for night. Save it for nighttime because we did it both during the day and during the night.
Okay.
And there are so many show elements you miss if you don't go at night.
That's so cool. So the Incredicoaster used to be called California Screamin', is that right?
That's right. That's right. And then they recently redid the entire pier area. It used to be called Paradise Pier.
Okay.
And they switched it over to include more IP, so now it's Pixar Pier.
Got it. It's kind of like their boardwalk area, but with rides and games and things.
That's right. It's super fun, super cute. In fact, all of those rides at night, really, it can't be beat at night.
Yeah, the Disney lighting in general is so on point. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's great. That day we also experienced Soarin' Around the World, which of course also has a ride at Walt Disney World.
Okay, which is a great ride.
It is a great ride. We also experienced Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
So this is sort of an updated version of the Tower of Terror, right?
That's right. They took the Tower of Terror and stripped it of its Twilight Zone elements and turned it into a Guardians of the Galaxy themed ride. So it's the same kind of ride experience with the elevator drops.
Sure.
I will say it's more intense than the Tower
really?
of Terror. They really throw you around on it. There's no real break. And then what you do is you stop at certain floors of the elevator and you see show scenes that are happening in front of you on a screen.
Very cool. Very on trend with the new Marvel's movies.
It was thrilling, and I got to say, the first time I did it, my tummy turned.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But it is incredibly fun, and everybody's having a great time on it, of course. Then they play the same music that you experience in the movie as well, those kind of like 70s and 80s
Oh, sure.
songs.
The mixtape songs that he has.
Yeah, it's great. And then that day we also did Frozen, the live stage show at the Hyperion Theater.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. It was really beautiful, very well done, highly technical, and a real crowd pleaser.
I'm surprised they're still doing that now that Frozen has opened on Broadway, because it's sort of a condensed version of that, I imagine, without all of the new songs from Broadway.
That's exactly right. And having seen both now, I can say that my ideal version would be kind of a mixture of the Broadway show and the show I experienced at the Hyperion.
Oh.
There were some elements at the Hyperion that really kind of surpassed what the Broadway show was able to do.
Wow.
And then there were some kind of more grounded moments in the Broadway show that the Hyperion show was kind of missing, in my opinion.
Gotcha. So don't miss one for the other. See them both.
That's right. So then each of the days, what we do is we kind of go back to the hotel mid-afternoon. We take naps. We're all older now. We'd take a nap. We'd go for a swim in the pool.
Yeah, take a knitting break.
That's right.
Okay.
The Disneyland Hotel pool area is really beautiful. It has a monorail slide, water slide.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Does it break down like the monorail a lot?
It does not.
Its doors don't open randomly and you're afraid.
Although I will say, Bart and Rick and I all went down it, and we all got stuck midway down.
Oh, no.
You just kind of sit there until the water builds up behind you,
Got it.
and then the pressure pushes you down the rest of the way.
So you can get stuck on the monorail and the monorail slide.
That's correct. That evening, we headed over to Disneyland. It was our first time walking into Disneyland. Of course, it was night. It was beautiful. And the reason we were there was because that was the only night during our trip that we were able to attend Remember Dreams Come True, which is their current fireworks show that they're showing. So it's on a limited schedule right now.
Interesting.
And the reason I wanted to hit this was because it heavily uses elements from Wishes.
Oh.
It uses the music from Wishes.
We love Wishes. We
I
miss it.
teared up so many times watching that show.
Wishes.
Yes, and it's hosted by Julie Andrews.
Oh, my gosh.
Hello, I'm Julie Andrews, who is just lovely to listen to.
Yeah.
The fireworks show itself was really great because it focuses on the history of the Disneyland park.
Okay.
It was created for their 60th anniversary celebration, and it features the attractions throughout the park. So they're using projections on the castle, not quite projection mapping, but they're using projections on the castle that highlight the rides in the park.
Okay.
And then there are fireworks that go off from the attractions around the park as they're kind of featured.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really great. And of course, they use the music. So they use Grim Grinning Ghost from the Haunted Mansion.
Of course.
They use Yo Ho, Yo Ho from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's a nostalgic trip and an emotional experience.
I bet. I need to get out there. It's happening.
Do you know what made it even better?
I don't.
The fact that I was munching on some peanut butter chocolate fudge while I was watching the fireworks.
Nom noms.
It was like the salt from my tears with the sweetness of the fudge. What a combo.
What a book title. Tears and Fudge.
Yep. So then, of course, we did experience Disneyland during the day, too.
Okay.
And we did all of the classic rides. I have to say, Disneyland's Fantasyland far exceeds Disney World's Fantasyland.
How so?
It's much more charming.
Okay.
It looks more like a European village from a fairy tale.
Gotcha.
Whereas Disney World's Fantasyland is more about like a show building and kind of a facade. And then kind of the entryway into the ride is a little bit themed.
Yeah, they sort of tease it out a little bit depending on where in Fantasyland you are.
Right. And so Disneyland is much more detailed, and you do get that feeling that you're in a village.
Was there a highlight in Fantasyland itself?
All of the small dark rides, I have to say, the ones that maybe used to be at Walt Disney World or ones that I had never experienced at all, are so scary.
They are, yeah, from what I vaguely remember of them, they're pretty dark.
I mean, I can now see why children are terrified to go on them. We walked into Snow White's Scary Adventure, and immediately you're kind of thrust into the Evil Queen's dungeon.
Evil Queen
Rebecca's dungeon.
Yeah.
And there's you hear like a raven, and you see like her workstation, for lack of a better word. There's like skulls sitting on it. 2 children immediately started bawling and had to be escorted out because it's scary.
Were they named Paul and Bart?
They were.
Okay.
They were. That ride in itself, that witch, that hag, she makes so many appearances and she just like pops out on any, there were several times where I jumped in the ride vehicle.
That's amazing. Here's what I want to know. Did you go on the Alice in Wonderland ride?
We sure did.
Tell me what you thought.
I loved it. They had made some enhancements to it over the past few years. They use projection technology now.
Got it.
And so on top of an already beautiful ride, an already kind of twisty, mind-bendy ride,
Sure.
are these really beautiful projections and animations. So it is a great experience.
Remind me, are you riding the caterpillar while you're in it?
You're riding the caterpillar, and the ride used to be that you were Alice going through Wonderland.
Right, they were sort of talking to you as though you were Alice.
That's right, and now they've actually added in Alice throughout the ride.
Okay, cool.
We also experienced Space Mountain Ghost Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, how was that?
It was good.
Uh-oh.
The Ghost Galaxy part of it wasn't what was so impressive.
Okay.
Space Mountain is such a fun ride to begin with.
Sure.
And I'm not able to ride it at Walt Disney World because the track is a little bit more rough. But they have done track work to the version in Disneyland, and so I rode it multiple times.
Oh, good.
And it reminded me how much I miss that experience.
So is it roughly the same ride, only it's smoother, or are there different elements to it?
It's roughly the same ride.
Okay.
The Ghost Galaxy portion of it is there are some kind of scary skeletal hands and faces reaching out towards you during the ride. But for the most part, you're still flying through the stars.
Sure.
So it's relatively the same. It just has some additional kind of Halloween elements that have been added to it.
Did you have a favorite ride that you went on?
Well, my favorite ride in California Adventure is the Incredicoaster.
Oh, okay.
Hands down.
Nice.
My favorite ride in Disneyland was Indiana Jones Adventure.
Oh, wow, very cool.
Yeah.
What about that specifically?
You do feel like you're in the movie. They play
Okay.
the great John Williams music from the movie.
Sure.
You're kind of flying around in this truck going through this archaeological site that's cursed. And so you're trying to kind of escape the curse.
Yeah.
And there are some fun kind of drop elements that you experience as you go through the ride.
I hear that ride is the same track as the dinosaur ride in Animal Kingdom. Is that right?
That's right. So this is located in Adventureland in Disneyland, and it does utilize the same ride track as Dinosaur in Animal Kingdom.
Fun.
Yeah, it's really very well themed and quite an adventure.
Yeah, it seems to be a popular one out there. So they do still have a fast pass system out there, very different from what Disney World's is, but they do have one. So talk to me about what that was like.
So it's called Max Pass out there.
Oh, okay.
And I have to say, in my opinion, it is a better system than Fast Pass.
Sure. Walk me through what it's like.
So what you do is every morning, as soon as you go through the turnstiles, you basically buy Max Pass for the day, which is a $10 addition to your ticket.
Okay, so it's an optional item that you can purchase.
That's right. And it includes park photos, so you can stop at any of the professional photographers around the park.
Wow.
And get those photos uploaded to the app.
Just for that day, though?
Just for that day.
Okay.
It also includes your ability to choose Fast Passes for the day.
Okay.
And so how it would happen is, let's say most mornings we went in for extra magic, and we would immediately log into the system, make our purchase, and then once the park officially opened at 8 o'clock, the Fast Passes would open up.
Okay.
So we had the ability to purchase Fast Passes before the regular guests were able to do it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So we would make our first Fast Pass for around 8:30 in the morning. Let's say we'd grab Indiana Jones Adventure.
Yeah.
And then your window for your next Fast Pass would open up when you check in for that ride.
So you do one at a time. You don't do just all three at the same time.
For the first two, it's pretty much one at a time, but then they kind of shorten the window a bit, or your window for choosing the next Fast Pass shortens. So, for instance, I check in for Indiana Jones, and then let's say I make a Fast Pass for Space Mountain. And then about a half an hour to 45 minutes later, your window opens up again, and so you can choose another one while you're still waiting to go on Space Mountain.
Wow.
So you can kind of accumulate Fast Passes passes as the day goes on. You're not limited to 3.
Okay.
It's just however many are available for the day.
Wow, that sounds like a smart system, actually.
But you cannot choose hours ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just whatever's available next.
Okay, so it's a very on-the-go kind of a deal.
Yeah, it's more of fly-by-the-seat of your pants kind of fast pass system.
Great.
It makes things a little bit less planned out. You kind of feel like you get lucky when you kind of land that wanted fast pass.
You let Mickey take the wheel.
That's right. We also experienced some really wonderful dining in Disneyland.
Okay.
One morning we had breakfast at Carnation Cafe, which is right on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
It is a restaurant that was there for the opening of the park. Incredible service. We have to give a shout out to Oscar and David at Carnation Cafe. They were both wonderful.
Hi, Oscar and David.
It was a great opportunity to kind of go on a few rides, then have a chance to sit down, have a meal, and kind of plan out the rest of your day.
Carnation Cafe.
That's right.
Sounds like a brunch spot I want to wear a big hat to.
And you should.
Maybe I'll wear those rainbow Mickey ears that you got for me.
Oh, so cute.
They are cute. Thank you for that gift, by the way. Maybe we'll post a picture of them on the Insta.
We must. We also had dinner in downtown Disney one evening at Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen.
Ooh, sounds fancy.
It was great. It was kind of a New Orleans-style restaurant, really delicious food. We had an incredible chocolate bread pudding souffle.
Num nums.
Yeah, it's a great way to finish off the meal.
Sounds like it. Or a good way to start your day for me.
That's right. And then that same evening, we went to the Halloween party in Disneyland.
Have you been to the Disney World one before?
I have not. I've been to the Christmas party, but I have not been to the Halloween party.
Okay, so what's their Halloween party like?
It is smaller
Sure.
than the Disney World's Halloween party, or from my understanding of it, anyway.
Sure. At least it is now, until maybe they may make it a bigger deal later. Who
That's
knows?
right. There are some very similar elements to it. For instance, you can still trick-or-treat at the trick-or-treating stations throughout the park.
Fun.
For those of you that don't know, you get a bag when you check in, and they basically have set up all of these trick-or-treat stations around Disneyland and around Disney World, too, if you happen to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And you just walk right up, and they give you a fistful of candy into your bag.
Absolutely. It's a ton of candy. If you're a candy lover, do this event.
And it's the good stuff, too. They don't skimp.
They sure don't.
Guests are also given the option of dressing up for the party.
Sure.
Regular day guests, adult day guests anyway,
Mm-hmm.
are not allowed to wear costumes into the park, so this gives people a chance to dress up as their favorite characters.
Love it. Did they have the actual Disney characters dressed up in Halloween costumes as well?
They sure did. Mickey was in a super cute vampire costume.
Love it.
Minnie was a witch.
I love that.
Donald was in a pumpkin.
Mhm.
Goofy was a skeleton.
Okay.
And so he was wearing all black with bones painted on it. And then even his hat had a bone. Oh, Goofy.
Uh-oh.
Some really great entertainment they have are the Cadaver Dans.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, really fantastic. They perform on the rivers of America on a barge, and it's really kind of eerie and beautiful how they have these fog machines just covering the rivers of America.
That's cool.
Yeah, it really makes for a beautiful experience.
Now, normally those are the Dapper Dans when it's not Halloween, and they change them into the Cadaver Dans for Halloween.
That's right. They also had Halloween Screams fireworks that night, hosted by Jack Skellington and Zero.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they kind of have this giant inflatable balloon that rises above the castle, and then they project Jack Skellington and Oogie Boogie on that as the hosts of the evening.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then, of course, Zero's flying around kind of on the same track that Tinkerbell uses.
Oh, I love that idea. Who doesn't love Zero?
They also have the Frightfully Fun Parade,
Mm-hmm.
which is akin to Boo to You.
And you.
And you. It has its own soundtrack, though. It does not use that song. And it also features the Headless Horseman riding down Main Street chasing Ichabod Crane.
That is such a great element. I love it. Really wonderful photos when you can capture them. Did you have any of the Halloween sweet treats they were offering?
I sure did. On the way back to my room, I picked up a Maleficent frosted Rice Krispie bar on a stick.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I saw a picture of that on Instagram.
That's right. I ate it in bed and then immediately went to sleep.
Those are so delicious, though. The crispy treats there are on point. So beyond the Halloween party, what were some of the character experiences like there? I hear it's a little bit different than how they do it in Disney World.
That's right. The characters are a little bit more loosey-goosey out there. They're not always walking around with a handler.
Sure.
For instance, we had a picture taken with Captain Hook.
Okay.
And they had a person stop by saying, it's time to return to Neverland now. But there's not a handler with them there all the time.
Okay.
And you will frequently see characters just walking through the park on their own. They're not being accosted by large groups of people. They're just walking through to their photo station, waving and interacting with people. And then, of course, you can get pictures with them.
That's cool. So do they walk around with the photographer, or is it more like take your own pictures of these characters?
They walk to stations where there is a photographer.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of them are just use your own phone photo opportunities. opportunities.
Whereas in Disney World, the characters are pretty stationary all the time with lines to get in and see them.
That's right. There were a couple of instances that truly shocked me. Our last day there, I was standing listening to an a cappella group in the lobby of the Disneyland Hotel.
As you do.
Yes, I do. And I kind of had my arms folded and was just standing there. And all of a sudden, I feel this person lean on my shoulder. And I turn around and it's Goofy.
What?
And I just started laughing. And I was like, Goofy, like you surprised me. I was legitimately surprised. That would never happen in Walt Disney World, I feel like.
Right.
So I immediately grab a selfie. And then not 2 minutes later, here comes Pluto wandering over to us. And
that's amazing.
We grab a photo with Pluto, too.
What a fun magic moment. It sounds like they are really great at creating those little surprise moments in Disneyland.
Our last night there, we got to experience Fantasmic.
Oh, I love that show.
Fantasmic at Disneyland is not to be missed and vastly different from Fantasmic at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, they just gave it sort of a makeover, didn't they, recently?
They did. So we did it as part of a dining package.
Okay.
So we dined at the Blue Bayou, which is the restaurant inside Pirates of the Caribbean. And they have a prefix menu where you can make your choices. And then when you're finished with your meal, they give you a seat cushion.
Oh.
And you're directed to a seating area in front of the Rivers of America.
Sure.
You kind of get prime seating for it. And you're sitting on the ground, so that's why they give you the seat cushion.
Smart.
And then you get to experience the show up close and personal. And when I say up close, you know how in Walt Disney World you're in a giant kind of amphitheater?
Yeah.
We are one person back from a giant pirate ship going by you.
Wow.
They use the riverboat like they do in Walt Disney World coming right by you. The whole show is a much more intimate experience in Disneyland.
Okay.
And it is much more technologically advanced.
Yeah.
They use a lot more projection, and not just on the screens, but on kind of the backdrop of the Rivers of America.
Okay.
They use a lot more fireworks incorporated into the show.
Okay.
And spoiler alert, if you've never seen Fantasmic,
Sure.
Maleficent turns into a dragon. And the dragon they have at Disneyland is phenomenal.
Wow.
We were blown away.
How is it different than the one in Disney World?
Disney World is kind of a puppet on a stick, I would say. It's like a head with some fabric hanging down from it.
Okay. I think you're a little tainted now because you've seen the new one, because the one in Disney World is actually pretty impressive.
Well, trust me.
and shoots fireballs out of its mouth.
Yes. The one in Disneyland is, I would describe it as a full-on animatronic. It has a giant purple-black body like it does in the movie.
Okay.
It still shoots fire out of its mouth, and as fireworks go off around it. It's just more of like a fully realized dragon from the movie.
Sure.
As opposed to kind of more of an interpretation of the dragon from the movie.
Okay, that makes sense. So, as you know, our podcast is Gays Do the D.
Mm-hmm.
So, in Disney World, I always feel really comfortable being openly gay there. Did you have that experience in Disneyland as well?
Definitely.
Oh, good.
In fact, I may even say even more so.
Oh.
It felt very welcoming. I was wearing a Gays Do the D logoed t-shirt, and cast members and people throughout the parks were frequently commenting on it, saying how much they liked it.
Sure.
And everything just feels a bit more laid back there, I would say. I don't know if it's just because it's new and I'm gay and I like shiny new things, but it did feel different. It felt even more comfortable than I would feel in Walt Disney World.
Well, California is a very advanced state, I would say.
Very liberal.
More progressive than Florida, maybe. And also just that California vibe seems to be pretty laid back as well.
Yeah, in fact, there was one moment where we were having lunch at Cafe Orleans in New Orleans Square, and we were sitting out on the patio, and this little girl came up to me, and I was wearing my Rainbow Mickey ears and my hashtag Disney Pride t-shirt, and she came up to me and she said, "I love your ears."
Aw.
She was maybe 8 or 9. And her family then came up to the table with her, and there were probably like, I don't know, maybe 8 family members with her.
Sure.
And the mom said to the little girl, "Tell him about your grandmas."
Oh.
And she said, "I have 2 grandmas."
Yay.
And then, of course, the 2 grandmas are in the group.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry.
And they're both elderly women who, my assumption was that they had kind of come out later in life and met each other. And so I was able to give them all buttons from Gays Do the D. And it was such a moving moment to have a little girl who is so open to come up to a table of strangers and say that. And then to have this interaction with this family, this very, very sweet family. It was really a memorable moment.
#progress.
Yes.
It's very cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that Disney vibe in general is just a very open community of people who are comfortable just talking to each other as though they know each other, but we're all strangers, right? But somehow at Disney, you're all part of the same family.
I never feel uncomfortable commenting on someone's shirt there or just starting up a conversation with them in line.
Yeah.
Whereas in real life, it shouldn't be the case, but oftentimes I'm a bit more reserved and don't take the opportunity to do that. And why not?
Right. We kind of go through life in our own little bubble, and then suddenly when you're in the Disney park, it's like, everyone is with me. We're all together.
That's right.
I love that. I love that. So we talked a little bit about some of the differences between Disneyland and Disney World. Did you have any other specific ways that they're different? Maybe surprising ways that they're different?
Disneyland is much more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Disney World is a very big place.
Yeah, of course.
And it oftentimes takes some element of transportation to get to a park or to get to your hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Staying at the Disneyland Hotel, we were fortunate enough to be able to do that. We could walk right into downtown Disney, which led us to both Disneyland and California Adventure.
So convenient.
Yeah, it was about a 10-minute walk. That was the thing that stood out the most in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Related to that, Disneyland just feels more intimate.
Sure.
Because both parks are smaller.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more attention to detail.
I imagine it feels a little bit more accessible because there's not so much spread out that everything's kind of right there in front of you.
That's right. When you snag those fast passes, it's not quite an ordeal to walk from Tomorrowland to Adventureland.
Sure.
It's steps away.
Yeah.
In fact, we were commenting on how close Adventureland and Frontierland are to each other. I mean, they are right next door to each other. Yeah. It is literally a row of bamboo, a tiny stream, and then a row of pine trees. And like that's what separates the two areas of the park.
I'd also imagine that since Disneyland has been around for so long that it's a little bit more of a well-oiled machine, right? And that may sort of free up their cast members to give you that extra attention that you may not quite get at Disney World. You still do get a magical moment in Disney World all the time, but I imagine they're so much better at it at California.
I think it relates to size again. You
right.
know, Walt Disney World is so big,
yeah,
and they're trying to satisfy so many customers
in
any one given moment. And there's more of an opportunity for cast members to interact with guests at Disneyland because it's a smaller park.
Mm-hmm.
We had interactions with two cast members. One we never actually got to meet. One cast member, he's at Chris Garcia Howell on Instagram.
Okay.
Actually messaged me after he saw us on Big Thunder Mountain. He said, "Oh my gosh, I saw you guys on Big Thunder Mountain today."
Wow.
Yeah, it was really kind of a crazy experience.
So had he been a follower before and noticed your T-shirts, or how did that happen?
He had been following us on Instagram.
Amazing.
And just reached out to mention that he had seen us. And then another cast member who was just great is at Morgan Fig. I want to say it's Fig. It's Figge at Morgan Fig, who was a ride vehicle loader on the Incredicoaster.
Okay.
Commented on the shirt I was wearing, and I gave him a gaze do the D button.
Aww.
And he ended up reaching out to us on Instagram after that experience. He's just delightful and super cute.
Aww.
So follow those two guys because they work in the parks and they know what's going on there.
Very cool. Very cool. Did you have any snacks that aren't available in Disney World that were specific to Disneyland?
These snacks aren't specific to Disneyland, but the churros out there are next level churros, or maybe they just know how to do churros better in Disneyland.
Fair enough. Had you had one in Disney World before?
I had one at Disney World before.
And they're different.
They are different.
Okay.
It could be due to the humidity in Disney World, too. I mean,
fair.
California is much more dry. So the churros are crunchy, and they're also larger in Disneyland. But we had the classic churro, which was delicious. And then at Pixar Pier at Senior Buzz's churro stand, they had a cinnamon super galaxy churro, which was dusted with red hot dust.
Oh.
And you think it'd be like super spicy and too intense, but it was almost like that bite was cut out of it. It was delightful.
So you mentioned you also went to Downtown Disney, which is called Disney Springs in Walt Disney World, but it's still called Downtown Disney in California.
Yeah.
What out there did you love? Any standout moments there?
Yes. Our last day, we did the Void experience, Star Wars Secrets of the Empire.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, it's a virtual reality experience. And it is mind-blowing, I have to say. I have never experienced anything like it. So they take you back into their attraction building. You put on a headset, you put on a vest, and before you know it, you are in this virtual world going on a mission as a rebel spy under the guise of an Imperial stormtrooper.
Oh.
And you are going to Mustafar, Darth Vader's volcanic planet.
Wow.
And you feel like you are there. It is a little disorienting, I have to say, getting out of it, because you walk through rooms on ships, and for instance, there's one moment where blasters blow a hole through a wall, and it's still on fire, and you walk through the hole and you feel the heat from the fire.
Oh my.
And even the floor, when you walk through that doorway, is kind of melted, so you kind of like your feet kind of mush into it.
Weird.
They've really thought of every detail, so you feel like you're actually having this experience.
That's so cool. I'm hoping that they're going to be able to take some of that technological advancements that they're making and bring it into Galaxy's Edge.
I do feel like this might be a bit of a test to see what the Void, what Lucasfilm can actually bring to that experience.
Sure.
But I highly recommend doing Star Wars Secrets of the Empire. I know you're considering doing it for your trip in April.
I am. I'm going out there by myself, so I'm looking for things to do, so that's definitely on my list.
This would be a great experience. You do get paired with other people, and you do have a mission that you need to complete. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you do come across some iconic Star Wars characters, and it's very, very exciting.
So it is an extra charge to do this. It's not like a ride. You have to purchase this experience.
That's right. It was $35, and it lasts from the time you enter the show building to the time you're taken out of the VR world. I would say it's about 20 minutes.
Okay.
You do get some pictures with it that come at an additional cost.
Okay.
But this is truly where we're headed, I felt like. When you're experiencing this, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
You know, there are some glitches you experience because this world is being created for you as you walk through it. And the fact that you can look down on your hands and you're wearing stormtrooper gloves. I mean, you see yourself as a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
It's not perfected yet, but what they've achieved and the level of reality to it is bananas. It's incredible.
Yeah. That's something I love about Disney, that they're not afraid to just jump into the future head first. Even if it doesn't work perfectly, they're still going to try it, and then that benefits all of us, I feel like. So now that you've been to Disneyland and California Adventure, do you have any advice for anyone who's making their first trip out there, or things you'd wish you'd known ahead of time before you went?
I think one of the most important things to know is that while Disneyland is still a locals park, it is becoming a destination, and I think crowd levels are increasing there, and I think there is more of a need to plan ahead, whereas you may not have needed to do that in previous years.
Sure.
Now you do need to snag those reservations. You do need to kind of plan out your day, even though the FastPass system may take you to different areas of the parks at different times. I think it's a good idea to have a plan, a loose plan to get you through your trip. Also, I highly recommend making use of the MaxPass system. I mean, it was very beneficial for us. Not only do you get those great photos, but again, you get the opportunity to choose fast passes, because not everybody's doing that. Whereas Walt Disney World, it feels like everybody's kind of locking into the fast pass system. Many people at Disneyland are not doing that, so it kind of gives you a leg up on them.
Along those lines of having a loose plan, have that plan, but also like expect things to go wrong while you're on your trips. Don't try to perfect your Disney trip when you're out there, because it's never going to be exactly what you think it is, but rather just let the day take you with it. You know what I mean?
We were originally going to have the Blue Bayou dinner package and see Fantasmic on the Monday night that we were there. Well, the winds were really high that day.
Oh.
And so when we sat down to dinner, the waiter informed us that Fantasmic may not happen tonight.
Oh, no.
So before we doled out, the $70+ for the dinner package, we decided to back away from that experience.
Oh, sure.
It wasn't guaranteed. Fantasmic may have happened that evening, but we decided to opt out because we had made another reservation later in the week just in case anything changed. And we went to the Plaza Inn on Main Street and had a delicious chicken dinner and had a really fun night.
That's great.
So I would say it's important to maybe think about how you can rearrange things on the fly.
Yeah.
And I think that's true of any Disney vacation, really, and to really embrace those experiences. Some things may not go right, but the alternative to the evening you had planned can be a really memorable, magical experience, too.
For sure. There's magic around every corner. Well, thanks for sharing with us your trip, Adam. I'm so glad you're back.
Am I? I don't know.
No. I'm glad you're back because I'm not having FOMO at seeing all of your photos.
By the way, if you want to see any of those photos, they are available on our Instagram at GDTD Podcast. Patrick.
Yas, Adam.
It's time for some Quick D.
Yas.
For those of you that don't know, Quick D is when Patrick and I ask each other a question that we have not conferred on beforehand, and we have to spontaneously answer that question and delight all of you and ourselves.
It's a shocking D.
So, Patrick, are you ready for my question?
I'm always ready.
Okay. Earlier on in the news segment, we talked about the couple that traveled around to all of the Disney domestic parks in one day.
Ooh.
Patrick, you have one day in Walt Disney World. You need to go on a ride in each one of the parks. 4 rides. Go.
Go. Okay, so I'm going to the Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
And that's its own park, not the sub-parks in Magic Kingdom.
Correct. Just the Magic Kingdom.
I'm going on Splash Mountain.
Yes, of course you are.
Splash me with that mountain, please.
Yes, I love Splash Mountain.
And then I'm heading over to Epcot.
Sure you are.
I'm jumping on that Spaceship Earth.
Oh, yes, please.
It's my favorite ride in Epcot. And then, I'm so nervous. I'm going over to Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you.
Yes.
I'm going on Dinosaur. I love Dinosaur.
You're not going to do Expedition Everest?
I mean, but I...
There's no time. There's no
There's
time.
There's no time. Keep moving. And then I'm heading over to Hollywood Studios, and I'm going to go on Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yep, you certainly are.
Yeah, I'm going to rock that roller coaster right out of your hair. Nope, that's not a saying.
I like that you tried it, though.
I was onto something, and it failed miserably.
Well, now it's a T-shirt.
Do you do you approve of my choices?
I do. I really do. I think that you've made some interesting. You mixed it up.
I did.
You know,
I did. I'm a mixed bag over here.
Yeah, I think you made some wise decisions.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay, so my question for you is a little similar.
Okay.
So now that you've been to all 6 parks in
Yes.
the United States,
Yeah.
which Disney park best describes Adam? That was very dramatic.
It is. It is. And you've really kind of thrown me for a curveball here, or thrown me a curveball.
We're very into sports.
We are. Okay, which park best describes me?
Yes.
It's still Epcot. Epcot.
Oh, okay.
I like the kind of retrofuturism of Epcot. I like the coming together as a world and like celebrating the world. I like the fact that you can get alcohol there. And I like the juxtaposition of rides and kind of more of like a fair experience. So Epcot all the way.
I like it. Epcot is sort of like the mall walker version of of a Disney park.
That's right. I like to put on my velour tracksuit and just hit World Showcase.
Yeah, your blue blocker sunglasses.
Yep.
And just go to town. That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. Ratings and reviews are greatly appreciated and help people find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, and Stitcher. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast and on our website at gaysdothed.com. Submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See ya real soon.